we must ask ourselves, what are we optimizing for? Are we prioritizing aesthetic over functionality? Or functionality over aesthetic? All I need is a really well-functioning mechanical keyboard that is extremely highly responsive. So we're cutting out just a little piece of some random rubber thing. Just a little elevated button. Now I used to just steal these off of the bottom of old keyboards that I would use in the past. The little rubber things that they have on the bottoms there. And you can use whatever you want. So this will make it a little bit easier for me to smash that escape key when I need to escape. And it doesn't really have to be perfect. Just enough so that it feels right when I hit it. Because what we're talking about is the touch response. So technically our touch response delay time is about 1/10 of a second, as opposed to the milliseconds that we experience with visual response, which can be like 100 to 200 milliseconds. But what we want to be doing is keeping our eyes on the screen. With audio editing or video editing, any of these things, we want to be keeping our hands on the keyboard and the mouse as often as possible, and not having to be doing not having to like switch our hand from the keyboard or our hand from the mouse to the keyboard. So obviously step one is to set up your hotkeys and set up your shortcuts how you want them to be. DaVinci Resolve has great options for this. Ableton Live has great options for this. Most programs nowadays are pretty detailed in this regard. But what we have going on here, essentially, like I'll have my this button here. So when I do have to take my hand off of my mouse and go to the keyboard, I will be able to do so quickly because I have a more raised key here. And this makes it easier for me just to come back to that, because all the time that we're spending looking down at the keyboard and back up at the monitor, that's wasted production time. That takes us out of the flow state too, if you want to look at it that way. So another one that's helped me greatly with creative writing and just writing in general is to be able to delete whole words quickly, like to back up. Now this is just how I type. Of course, a lot of people like to take their time and think about what they're going to say before they type it out, but this does help in most regards though. So the shortcut here that Word uses and pretty much all typing programs is Control Backspace to delete entire words instead of just backspacing through each letter. So to be able to do that faster, instead of moving my hand all the way over here to hit Control Backspace, I've just put a button here or a raised button and a raised button here. So now I can just go and use the side of my hand. So I'm just saving a little bit of time that way as well. So this is basically my setup, and I've changed it over the years based on the programs that I'm prioritizing. Right now I'm using DaVinci Resolve and writing more than I was with Ableton, but I still have the good old F9 record button raised so that I can hit that quickly. And any of the hotkeys that I'm using most of the time are raised quickly so I can get to them faster. And also just make sure my fingers are in that right position. Another big piece of advice, I actually learned this from Mr. Bill, the producer. Get yourself a large mouse pad. Get yourself a very large mouse pad, and then reduce your sensitivity to like minimum. So whatever your sensitivity is, try to keep it low so that way you can be more precise and do like a long sweeping motion and then arrive at where you want to arrive at, if that makes sense. As opposed to like trying to do this and like sweeping all the way across the screen. Anyways, this is just something that's helped me. This has been Captain Compton at Polymath Park. I appreciate you watching this video. If you found this useful, feel free to share it and comment in the comment section. See you in the next one.